the misuse of the Mental Health Act. I was able to walk the judge through what actually happened. It derived from me being unfairly dismissed by my employer. Who, stated that I was mentally incapacitated. It kind of just followed suit, and the evidence clearly shows that it was just a big plot, because that led to them using the misuse of the Mental Health Act on me without any evidence. The reason why I went to that appointment on the 4th of February 2016 was, the purpose was to go and renew a medical certificate for the working income, because now I had no employment. According to the laws, when you've been medically incapacitated, you actually have to have a medical clearance. Who Steve Colpin was, nor did I meet him, yet he has medically terminated me. So if I wanted to go back to work, the medical incapacitated statement had to be changed so I can go back to work. So that's the reason why I did what I did, because it was quite obvious that whoever was driving what I was going through had the mindset to medically terminate me permanently. And also it was like some kind of a secure thing to make sure that no one goes back and dig up what happened to the victim, what actually happened to Minna Crichton. Something's not right here. But if the evidence on the surface shows that, it's very hard to challenge it when somebody new on board comes on board, looks at the case. It's not that easy to undo. However, it is my case, and so whatever I say is exactly what happened. I was able to walk the judge through this hearing. The judge was pretty good, I believe, was quite fair in the way. I felt he was quite wise in the way he handled the case, because I was the victim. And when you're the victim, you're reliving the evidence, and it's quite horrific. Walk the judge through the evidence, and I told him that they arrested me at night in my home, and that they confused my family, because that's what it caused, them using the Mental Health Act on me and coming and arresting me. And they confused my family, and they scared the hell out of me. And then I felt like I was fighting for my life in there. I felt like I was battling suicidal thoughts of what they were doing to me. Because nobody would believe me. The words I said in court, I got a little bit emotional when I said that, because it kind of just hit me, because it was true. But I did say that to the court, that I felt that that they endangered my life in that area, and that's what happened at the court. I addressed the misdiagnosis of the pregnancy. I still stand by with what I believe, that the lab blood test was as it says it was, that I was pregnant, and I referred the judge to that evidence. And I said to the judge, well, a blood test is a blood test. It's either you're pregnant or not. I have never known a blood test to be wrong. Plus, I've had 3 children, and then I was able to walk him with the evidence when it was positive, and I had somebody in there with me who had witnessed that in the beginning. But I knew I was subject to human trafficking by force, where other people had the intention of continuously stealing off me, whether it be for organ harvesting, because that's another thing I felt in the beginning when I was being personally attacked. the reason, like everything from my point of view, at that moment of time when those things happen, I had the suspicion that someone was either after my organ, hence is the reason why my driver's license was missing, and then everything in my personal space, I was being personally attacked by an alliance who was conspiring to not only try and make me commit suicide, but at the same time stealing and using me for money laundering. So that was what the evidence showed. In fact, that is what the evidence is in court. But Judge was pretty impressed, and he was really good and compassionate, and he even said that he complimented on my work. He was pretty much impressed with all my work and everything that I've submitted, in response to the Crown's submission. However, I felt that I had given enough evidence to the court to prove that that the Ministry of Health, you're not dealing with just one person, dealing with several medical practitioners to do with my medical records and all the other things that have taken place. Judge actually said to me at this hearing, he said, "Or what would make me to leave it, or like just move on," kind of a thing. He said, "Would an apology," this is what he said, Judge actually said, "would an apology help?" And I said, well, that's exactly what I wouldn't mind, is an apology might make a difference, but I feel that they do need to give an apology. But yeah, so Judge actually said that. Also, the words I used in near the ending of my case was, I had said that I'm subject to hate crimes. So whoever is behind what I'm going through, they're actually hate crimes and they want me dead. That is what I said in court. In fact, I can recall several court hearings. I actually said in court to the judge that my case is a matter of life and death. And this is going back with the key chambers back in the high courts. And my whole career working for the government, when somebody says something like that, you just don't take it lightly. But they've all ignored it. Maybe they think I'm safe, but it's actually not safe when people are psychologically abusing me when I go out, or they're turning my life into some kind of Commonwealth game and inciting it on TV. And then I ring the police and they hang up, or they tell me that I need to go for a mental health assessment because I'm complaining about people in my space stealing off me and abusing me and doing indirect abuse or emotional blackmail stuff. These are the things that was mentioned at the court, and I did say to the judge at the hearing that I'm subject to hate crimes, and that the Ministry of Health and everything they've all said about me is just a big cover up because they want me dead, because it's quite serious. And those are the words I used in court along those lines. At the end of my case, I basically just proved to the court that the Ministry of Health has no evidence. I just showed or proved to the judge, according to the law and evidence, that the Ministry of Health had no evidence to support the words they use, that I'm mentally impaired. I referred the judge to the Crimes Act, Rule 99, to administer law and justice. And I've actually asked that to the court in other court cases. So that's what happened at this hearing. However, I got the same results like all the other judgments where the judge overlooked anything I said and sided with the Crown. And basically, yeah, like, so even though at this hearing I also proved to the judge the process that, that this case, just because it's Ministry of Health and, it is government agencies, they can be fined in the criminal jurisdiction. So I basically did my research, and all the applications that I'd submitted to court clearly proves that government agencies can be fined. But however, because it's the seriousness of the case, I believe it should actually automatically go to the criminal jurisdiction. So this case is actually on hold because now I've got to deal with the Ministry of Justice, but I did let the court know that this case with the Ministry of Health it's not finished, and that I had intended to press criminal charges. So that's where this case has ended, obviously for obvious reasons. So I'll just leave that at that. At this stage, as far as the PSA, I've actually put in an interlocutory application for a judgment of liability against the PSA because they've got no evidence. But as you can understand, and I'm being a very busy person, I'm representing myself and litigating my case, so I would be like what you'd call a paralegal, and I'm representing myself. In New Zealand, the laws allows us to represent ourselves, but the opposition, it's more of a power thing, and kind of outnumbered. But for me, it's important that the record, because it is my property, my personal profile. Thank you for watching, and watch me on the next clip. I will be dealing and walking you through the process with the Ministry of Justice hearing.